Hey, Girl Scouts. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties in my first video. We are going to try this again. Welcome. My name is Brooke, and I will be doing our self-care, plant care video today. So as I have friends start to join, again, I'm really sorry that I had technical difficulties with the first video, but hopefully we are all set this time. So as you tune in, if you can write in the comments your name, where you're tuning in from, and your favorite way to practice self-care. All right, Katie said volume is better. Thanks. Perfect. Glad you guys can hear me now. So if you're just tuning in, if you could write in the comments your name, where you're tuning in from, and your favorite way to practice self-care. That way I know I have some friends here and I know that you all can hear me okay. So some of my favorite ways to practice self-care are, first, I love taking care of my plants. So I'm going to be kind of showing you all some of the ways that I do that today. But some other things that I like to do is I love to read out on my porch when it's really sunny. That's always really fun for me. I don't think I'll be able to do that today because it is raining in Cincinnati. And I also really like to color in coloring books. So that's a way that I can kind of de-stress and things like that. So it looks like Christy and Alana from California love doing facials and yoga. That is so fun. I know we're going to have some self-care Sundays about facials and things like that. So thank you all for tuning in. This is actually our first week of doing self-care Sundays. If you remember, throughout April, we were doing service Sundays, and we gave you all sorts of different ideas of how you can give back to your community while practicing safe social distancing. So now we wanted to shift gears now that it is May and practice a little bit of self-care on Sundays because, you know, at this point, we've all been social distancing for a while. So that can be a little bit tiring and we can all feel a little bit worn out. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. This also goes along with our brand new patch program, which is called the Thrive Patch. And you can find more information about the Thrive Patch program on our Girl Scouts of Western Ohio Facebook page or our website. But we're really excited that we rolled out this new patch program. So in addition to giving you guys lots of different ideas for service last month, we wanted to give you some ideas for self-care and how you can take care of yourself. So today I am going to be showing you all kind of some of the different ways that I take care of my plants. Now, if you watch some of my other videos, my other Facebook Lives, my plants have made plenty of cameos, and I've done a couple of videos just dedicated to my plants. So I do really, really love houseplants and taking care of them, but I wanted to tell you all some of the ways that keeping houseplants can kind of benefit you in case you didn't know. So the first way is that houseplants can actually remove toxins from the air and they purify the air. So obviously, having just one houseplant will do this to a certain extent, but having multiple houseplants kind of throughout your house and in different rooms can help purify the air. So as you guys might know, plants take in carbon monoxide. Yes. And they emit oxygen, and then we all breathe in oxygen. So they're actually cleaning the air and the oxygen that we breathe in. So that is one way that plants can help. I read a couple of different studies and things like that, and patients in hospitals that had houseplants in their room actually recovered faster than patients that didn't, according to one study done by a university. According to another study done by the University of Michigan, plants can actually help with memory retention. So some of the studies that I read found that we as people generally spend about 80% of our time indoors. Now, it varies from person to person, but in general, we spend 80% of our time indoors. So having elements of nature in the outdoors inside with us really helps reduce our stress levels and improves things like our memory. It can improve our health. It can reduce our stress levels, and it also makes us happier. And the last thing that I wanted to highlight is that taking care of plants is actually very gratifying and rewarding. Plants, if you're giving them the proper care, start to grow more. They produce new leaves, and it makes us feel good because we can actually see the growth that we're doing and see that we are able to take care of something. So I know on some days when I'm feeling really down, one thing that I like to tell myself is I keep almost 150 plants and 2 dogs alive. So I must be doing something right because most of my plants, not all of them, are happy, and my 2 dogs are very happy. And if you tuned in earlier this week for my Cadet Animal Helpers badge, you got to meet my pets, Bonnie and Ziggy. So I realized that not everyone might have plants in their home. So that's okay. I wanted to pull a couple of my plants that are super easy beginner plants if you and your family are looking to add a plant to your home. So my first suggestion is right over here. It's a classic pothos plant. Now these come in a ton of different varieties and colors. They're really easy to just propagate, which means to kind of grow a new plant from a cutting of an existing plant. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that a little bit later on. So they're really easy to propagate. They're really easy to grow. They are kind of native to the jungle, and they just grow and take off, and they're huge. So they can grow in higher light conditions or lower light conditions. This one, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got some big leaves, and one thing that's kind of cool is it has like this white splotches on the leaves. So this one is a golden pothos. Some people call it a pothos. And these can be found all over. They're very easy to find. Usually you can find them at Walmart, Lowe's, or Home Depot. They do ship really well if you wanted to order one online. So this is a great starter plant. They grow really easily. You can put them in a hanging situation. So I have a macrame right here. They look good hanging, and they'll grow in windows, so you can put them. I know that one that I pulled actually sits in a bookshelf where it gets indirect light, so they tolerate different light conditions, and they're just really easy to grow. So if your family doesn't have a plant and you would like to add one, my first suggestion is a pothos plant. Super easy to find, and also, like I said, if you know a friend or family member that grows them, then it's very easy to propagate. My second suggestion is a peace lily plant. So this is my little peace lily. One thing about these are they are an irritant to animals. So I know I keep mine on a shelf that's high up from where my animals could reach it. But again, this is a really easy grower. You can find them in a lot of different places. They won't kill your animals if they eat them, but they will give them a tummy ache. So this is a peace lily. Again, a really easy plant, and they can grow super huge. So this is my second suggestion. I might have to sneeze. My third suggestion is a snake plant. Snake plants are actually one of the best air purifiers for your house, and they're super, super easy to take care of. They actually don't need that much water, so I usually water mine like once a month, maybe twice a month, and they grow really easily. I have them all throughout my house. They can tolerate really low light conditions. Now, low light doesn't mean no light, but they can tolerate low light or be like closer to the sun, things like that. So snake plants are another really great option if your family doesn't have plants but would like to add some. And again, this is one of the best air purifying plants. So now that I've introduced you to some plants, if your family doesn't have plants at home, I'll show you some of the ways that I take care of my plants. So I have some of my plants in my house here on this wall shelf behind me. And one thing that I usually do on Sundays is I water my plants. So I have a couple of different tools already ready so that I can water my plants. So one thing that I really like that has helped me take care of my plants is this moisture meter. So you can get these off Amazon, and they actually tell you if your plant needs water or not. So they're really helpful. A lot of times with a plant, I'll stick my finger in the top part of the dirt and see if the dirt's wet before I want to water it, but I can't get all the way down to the bottom. So my moisture meter, you can stick it in there and it tells you how wet or dry it is. So you'll see my peace lily is pretty dry. He needs some water today. So I did already check some of my plants. So I'll show you a couple of the different tools that I use to water my plants. The first one is just a watering can. I do have an outdoor watering can that has like a really big head and kind of makes a shower, but the one that I like for my indoor plants just has like a little spout here, and it helps me kind of get the water right in the pot so I don't spill everywhere. So that's one tool that I use. And then another tool that I use is this little squeeze bottle. And this is really nice because I have plants way up here on the shelf that are kind of hard for me to reach. So I can use my squeeze bottle and squeeze water up there. So I will attempt to kind of move my computer over, and then we can water my plants together. Now I did have my tripod set up with my phone earlier today so that this movement would be a little bit easier, but that didn't work out. So got my computer up on a shelf here. So I'm just going to take this watering can first. I'm going to feel if my plants need water. That guy doesn't need water today, but this one does. So we just go through and put some water in all the pots. So I don't want to bore you guys, but usually on Sundays I would go through, check all my plants and see who needs water and who doesn't. So after I get off the video today, I'm going to go through this whole shelf and see who here needs water and who doesn't. So that is the first thing that I do to take care of my plants. The second thing that I do is over here in this corner, I have some of my jungle plants that really like humidity. So I have a humidifier over there, which will put water droplets into the air. Oh, good morning. It looks like someone is just tuning in. So I do have this jug of water. I'm going to fill that up and turn on my humidifier. There we go. So if you can see it, it's now producing some water vapor in the air. So I watered some of my plants. I turned on my humidifier. The next thing that I wanted to show you guys is how you can propagate plants. So maybe your grandma has plants or your neighbor has plants that they want to share, or you might have plants at home that you want to share with maybe some of the girls in your troop. I know one thing that I'm going to be doing later today is I have some little plants that I've been propagating, so I'm going to make little care packages for some of my friends to kind of cheer them up this week. So hi, Renee. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys are having a good morning down in Florida. So anyways, I thought I would show you guys how you can do propagation. So this is actually something that one of my friends gave me, but these are some cuttings of a plant that I've been propagating. So like I said, one thing that you can do is you can use your plants to make more plants. So if you guys can see in here, those are all roots of this plant. So this is ready to be potted up. This plant grew roots, and now I'm going to stick it in dirt and it'll be a whole new plant. So in order to do that, you need something to put your propagations in. So something I use a lot is just like a little mason jar or even a cup, but I got a new little propagation thing. So I thought that we could kind of fill that up together. So if any of my caregivers watching are familiar with Gilmore Girls, I got this little Gilmore Girls propagation station, and it has these glass tubes in the top and it has cork. So what I'm going to do is just take the corks out, and then we're going to pick a few different plants, and I'm going to show you how you can propagate propagate your plants. So all that you need to propagate is some shears or even scissors. I use scissors quite a bit. So either gardening shears or scissors. So one plant that I wanted to propagate is this guy. It's a variety of plants called peperomia. And one thing that's really cool about this plant is you can grow it just from the stem. So a lot of plants you can't grow if you just have one leaf, but this one you can. So I'm just going to set him here. And then this looks like a really nice tall leaf to me. So I'm just going to use my clippers and cut it. And then I'm going to stick it in one of these tubes. And, oh, you guys couldn't see that. But I put it in one of the tubes of my propagation vessel, and we're going to propagate that guy. So that's the first one that I wanted to propagate. My second one, as I told you guys, pothos plants are a really easy starter plant if your family doesn't have a lot of plants at home. So this is one of my bigger pothos plants, and you'll see this part here is really starting to get really long. So to propagate this sort of plant, you want to take a spot. I wouldn't just want to cut the leaf off of this because that wouldn't grow. I actually want to take part of the stem, and I want to get a few different leaves on it. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 leaves, and then I'm just going to clip it right past that leaf. So I have 3 leaves on the stem, and then the stem you can see has little bumps on it, and that's what you want to look for. The bumps are where the roots are going to grow. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut one of the leaves off. You don't want to cut all of the leaves off because then your plant can't photosynthesize. If you don't know what that is, you'll find out when you're a little bit older in science class. So now I'm just going to take this stem that I cut, and I'm going to stick it in this jar. And again, that will grow some leaves. Now, the last plant that I wanted to propagate is up here on this top shelf. This guy's getting a little bit long and sparse, so I'm just going to take this stem here. I'm going to cut it. We have some leaves up at the top. And we have those little bumps down there where the roots will grow. So I'm going to stick that in my little propagation vessel. And then I'm going to take my watering can, and I'm going to take my little propagation vessel, and I'm going to fill these little tubes up with water up to the top. And I'm going to sit them in a really sunny spot, probably in one of my windowsills, and wait for some roots to grow. And then after the roots grow, I will go ahead and pot them in dirt. And if you guys are wondering how you can pot up your propagations, I actually potted up one of my other propagations in my junior gardener video. So the plant that I propagated and potted is this guy. It's a pink princess philodendron because it has those pink spots, and it actually has a new leaf growing out. So we did a good job potting this up. I know you guys didn't help, but you were cheering me on. I could feel your support in potting this guy up. So it has a new leaf. And generally, new leaves mean that we have a happy plant. So the last thing that I would do while I'm taking care of my plants is I would look and see if there are any yellow or dying leaves. So this guy usually gets some yellow leaves on him. Like this one right in the front has got some yellow and brown on the side. And that can actually attract bugs, and not good bugs, bad bugs that will kill our plants. So one thing that I do while I'm taking care of my plants is I just use, again, my little clippers, and I cut off those leaves that are dying so that I don't get bugs that are going to hurt my plants. So some other things that you could do for a self-care, plant care Sunday would be if you have any gardening bulbs at home, you can actually start your gardening bulbs indoors. So one second, I'll get a bulb and show you guys. So my neighbor gave me these. These are elephant ear plants. You can grow them outside here in Cincinnati, or you can grow them inside. But since it's still getting kind of cold sometimes in Cincinnati, what I've done is I've started some of these in some pots inside, and then when they start to grow, I'll put them outside. So if you have any bulbs, you could start those inside, or you could start them outside. I can't do any outdoor gardening here today because it is raining. Another thing that you can do is you can start flowers or vegetables inside. So if you guys have been following along my Daisy Welcome to the Flower Garden journey, I am growing some little wildflower seeds in this tray. And I just did an update on Thursday, but quite a bit of these are starting to sprout now. So that's another way that you can take care of plants indoors or do some plant care, self-care. You can start either vegetables or flowers from seeds inside, and all you need is a seed packet like this one. These are the wildflowers that I've been using. So you can start some flowers or some vegetables inside. That's another suggestion. And then my last suggestion is that you can grow food from some of the different foods that you're using. So you can have your caregiver help you look up how you can start garlic from a leftover piece of garlic. If you use chives at home, you can stick those in water and regrow them. You can regrow lettuce after you've chopped off the top. If you have a head of lettuce, I know I am personally starting some apple seeds and some avocado seeds. And all I'm doing for those is I took the seeds out, I let them dry out, and then I put them in a damp paper towel in a Ziploc bag, and I keep them in a window. So those are some other ways. If you don't have houseplants at home, you could do a little bit of plant care for your self-care Sunday. So thank you all for tuning in. It looks like Lauren's family has been propagating a plant in little mason jars, and it's been fun to watch the roots grow. I think it's really fun to watch the roots grow. I think it's really satisfying. The last thing that I did want to show you guys is I know in one of my videos, someone asked me how you can take care of aloe vera. I know a lot of people are adding aloe vera to their homes because you can actually make hand sanitizer out of aloe vera. So this basket actually sits in a really sunny spot in my kitchen. And aloe vera are really easy to take care of as long as you don't overwater them. That's the thing that a lot of people have difficulty with aloe vera is they overwater them. They are a succulent, and these leaves are really plump, and they're holding a lot of water in here, so you don't have to give them a ton of water. So this guy I water in the winter maybe once a month, and in the summer I will maybe water him every other week if the leaves start to look shriveled and like they're flattening up. But as long as they're really plump like this, and like if I squeeze them, I can't see my thumb imprint, then I wouldn't water them. So this is another great plant to add to your home. It didn't make my starter plant list because I think it is a little bit easier to kill because it's kind of prone to that root rot. But as long as you don't overwater it, it can be a great plant. I know growing up, we always had aloe vera, and I loved if I ever got a sunburn or something, or if I burned myself on the stove, cutting off a piece of it and rubbing it on there. You can give yourself an aloe vera facial by cutting it open and rubbing the aloe vera all over your face. But you can also use the aloe vera to make your own homemade hand sanitizer, which we all can use right now. So I did just want to touch on that before I left you all, because I know that's a question that some people had asked in one of my other videos that I didn't get to. So thank you all for tuning in with me. I hope that I gave you lots of ideas of how you can make yourself hopefully a little bit happier by taking care of plants. And I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're not already enrolled in Girl Scouts and you would love to be a Girl Scout, make sure you visit girlscouts.org/join to find a troop near you. And make sure you tune back in at 2 o'clock because my friend Marissa will be doing some mandala artwork to show how she does some self-care. So make sure you tune in. We're live every day at 10 and 2 with different programs. We have our Thrive Patch program that you all can earn no matter where you are by participating in our Facebook Lives and doing other safe social distancing practices. And have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends.